If you're going to be a soldier in the United States Army, or you are a soldier in the United States Army, you want to be successful. And there's got to be some way to try to determine, am I successful in the Army or am I a piece of crap in the Army? And I've got 3 specific ways that I feel might help you kind of gauge if you are successful or maybe a dirtbag soldier. Before I dive into those 3 things, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Take a look down below. Make sure you're clicking on the bell so you get alerts as soon as new videos go live to be a part of that notification platoon. So let's dive into the first, very first one that I want to talk about of these 3. The first way to judge that is based on performance evaluations, otherwise known as counseling statements or NCOERs, depending on your rank. And you may have heard the word counseling statements before, mainly probably in the negative kind of fashion. Yes, counseling statements can be used for, corrective actions, to tell a soldier, hey, you're screwing up. Here's a counseling statement, sign it. This is what you're supposed to do, for your punishment type of thing. But there should also be other types of counseling statements, such as initial and a monthly counseling. Your initial counseling is like your very first one, meet your leadership, you get new leadership, whatever the case possibly is, to kind of outline what their expectations are of you. So that way you know ahead of time what your objectives are to keep in their good sector to make sure you're being a good soldier type of thing. The monthly ones are monthly ones. They're supposed to be done every month. Your NCO, your squad leader, section sergeant, team leader, whoever it is that's going to be responsible for doing your specific counseling statements should be sitting down one-on-one with you to outline what it is that they feel you're doing good and where you can probably improve. Now, there's going to be probably both. Even if you're an amazing soldier, there's got to be some negative things in there. Maybe they're really minor, whatever the case is, because if that NCO goes and writes this amazing counseling statement saying that you're perfect and you never do anything wrong, that person's probably going to get flack from their higher up saying there's no way this person's perfect. So they always usually try to find something, even if it's really minor, just to make it look like you can always improve. But the main thing you're looking at is hopefully that you've got more like great things as far as they're outlining that, hey, you're doing great at this, and maybe very few things that they're saying that maybe you need to improve in this area. If it's the other way around and there's constantly a lot of things that they're saying that you need to improve on, or you're also constantly getting negative counselings, then yeah, maybe you're not doing great in the Army right now and you need to do some improvements. Otherwise, you're that dirtbag soldier and not that high-speed amazing soldier that you want to be. When you do get to the level of non-commissioned officer, then you have the NCOERs, which is very similar, but a different kind of evaluation type of, process that the non-commissioned officers go through with their rater for their platoon sergeant. Will be giving them a rating to say that, hey, this is where you're doing great, this is where you're doing bad at, or this is where you need to improve, and same kind of deal applies. You're not always going to be perfect. With an NCOER, you don't want to be perfect. Otherwise, if you go in the next month, maybe there's a couple things you need to work on, then they look at it as you're a soldier that's kind of falling off and now you're lowering down in your performance. So they try to always make it to where maybe your first NCOER has like a lot of room for improvement. The next one gets a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, and then it just keeps on kind of growing from there. So that's the first way. Your monthly counselings, your NCOERs, if those are looking good, they're constantly saying you're doing a great job, and there's very little things that they're saying you need to work on improvement on, you're meeting your objectives and your goals and everything, great. There's one step to kind of indicating that, hey, I must be a good soldier. The second way is looking at your promotions. If you're just bare minimum making promotions because they had to promote you anyways, then maybe there's some things you need to work on. The key thing you want is you want your NCOs to be putting you in for waivers to try to get you promoted early, especially from E1 through E4, because that's where it's going to apply. Because through those ranks, that's when you're just automatically going through the system. You're automatically, after a certain amount of time, going to get promoted to the next level. But what you're hoping for is that your NCOs see some effort, some good jobs you're doing, some kind of key things in your work style that they say, hey, this person shouldn't have to wait several more months before they automatically get promoted to the next level. Let's put them in for a waiver and let's get them promoted early so that way they, up their morale, they get a little extra money in their pocket and hopefully continue to succeed. So that can be a way that shows that, hey, you're a good soldier because your NCOs, your non-commissioned officers are putting you in for waivers to get promoted early, but it could mean that you maybe just have crappy NCOs that don't want to do the extra work. Now, I wouldn't say use that as an excuse to be like, that must be it. It must be I just have crappy NCOs that don't want to put me in for waivers. There could be the possibility that you're just a crappy soldier and they don't want to put you in for waivers. So sometimes you have to get some outside opinions from maybe fellow soldiers to be like, hey, am I crazy? Should I be getting promoted faster or am I maybe slacking? Come on, be honest with me, man. Of course, once you do get to a certain point, which you get to E4, right, the next promotions from there on are not automatic anymore. So then it is going to require you to kind of put in some extra effort for your NCOs to want to recommend you for the promotion board so that way you can go in front of the board, go to these NCO schools, and then get promoted. So if they're not putting in for that, then maybe there's some things you need to work on. There probably still can be a point where you're gonna get to a certain phase where you've been in E4 for a long time and they had no choice but to try to push you for the board because they don't have enough negative counselings to say why you shouldn't go to the board. But if you're getting to like the bare minimum of requirements for getting to the next level for NCO and they're like, hey, you should go to the promotion board because I think you make a great leader, then that's probably an indication that you're doing something right. But if you're getting to that minimum where you are eligible to go to the board and they're saying that no, you're not ready to go to the board, then there's probably some things you need to work on so that way you can up your level to get promoted faster and show that you're a great soldier. Now, the third and final way that I'll say you can kind of gauge if you're a good soldier or a crappy soldier is based on the trust or respect you get from your fellow soldiers. If your fellow soldiers do not trust you, they don't have any respect for you, you're gonna probably see that. You're gonna see that your NCOs are not trusting you to accomplish tasks. Your fellow soldiers don't wanna have anything to do with you. They don't ask you for help. They don't come to you for advice because they don't trust you. But if it's the other way around and your NCOs are coming to you and they're saying, hey, I need you to go down to the motor pool, I need you to go here, I need you to go there, grab a few soldiers with you and accomplish this task, that means they trust you that you will get that task accomplished and you're the go-to person for that. That's a great sign. If you have other soldiers that are coming to you being like, hey, what do you think I should do to do this, to get promoted faster, to do these other kind of things, that means your fellow soldiers trust you and you must be doing something right, that they want the advice from you. Because if you're a dirtbag, they're not gonna want advice from you because they see that, hey, this guy sucks. Don't ask this guy for advice. This can also be the same for NCOs, right? If your soldiers that you're in charge of are not coming to you for advice, for help on certain things, and they don't trust your advice to be of any value. So that means that they don't trust you. If they treat you like crap or they don't want to do the things you say, then they don't respect you, possibly. You could possibly just have a bunch of dirtbag soldiers that are just like that, but you also kind of have to gauge it as there is a possibility that maybe I am the dirtbag and I'm treating the soldiers like crap. I'm not, mentoring them. I'm not leading them. So sometimes that can be rough to kind of gauge. If you do have a bunch of dirtbag soldiers, then sure, maybe you're just going to see that and think that maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe you do have a bunch of dirtbag soldiers, but you have to kind of gauge that a little bit, maybe from your fellow NCOs and be like, hey, am I nuts, or are these guys just treating me like crap because they're dirtbags, or am I the dirtbag? There's nothing wrong with reaching out to the other NCOs to say, hey, give me some pointers here. What do you think? Do you think I'm doing good? Do you think it's these guys' problem? And then kind of, gauge it from there to determine if the problem is with you or with the soldiers in your squad or section or platoon or whatever. But hopefully, if you're doing a great job, then they're probably coming to you for advice, coming to you for help with certain situations and treating you great and treating you with respect. They listen to what you say and all that stuff because they trust you and they respect you. In the end, success in the United States Army can be gauged by a lot of factors. These are just three that I felt were good kind of determining factors of, are you great or are you bad? Do you need to work on some things, or are you an amazing soldier? Whatever the case might be, right? For my fellow individuals out there, my viewers that are veterans or currently in the Army, what are some other determining things that you've seen or you know of that maybe are good signs that, hey, I'm a great soldier, and if I continue doing this or that or whatever, I'll continue to be doing great. So I want to hear you guys' comments down in the comment section down below as far as what other determining factors may determine someone's success in the Army. But for those of you out there that are not yet in the Army, maybe new to the Army, I want to know, what are your goals? What is it that you strive for in the United States Army? Is it to get promoted fast? Is it to get, certain kind of achievements, to go to certain schools? I want to know down in the comment section down below. For me, for goals, I just really wanted to get the military experience. I wanted to, move up with some leadership responsibility. That way I had that to really kind of pad my resume, I guess, as far as looking like that I was a decent soldier and everything. But as far as if I was a crappy soldier or a great soldier, I feel like personally I was maybe somewhere in the middle. I don't feel like I was a dirtbag soldier, but I also don't feel like I was like some superstar amazing soldier. Maybe if I have any viewers out there that served with me, maybe you can let me know down in the comments section down below if you're out there. But I feel like I was probably somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the average range. Now, one of the ways I told you about trying to judge if you're, successful in the Army was promotions. And I actually have a video on tips that talk about how to, kind of maximize your opportunities to get promoted faster. And if you want to check that video out, you can check it out right here. So check that video out. Check out some links down in the description box down below for social media, for affiliate links, all that fun stuff. Thanks for hanging out. I'm Christopher Chaos. I'll see you next time. See ya.